morning, my fellow crafters. It's Erica here from Me2 Paper Crafts, coming to you for another fun fold on a Friday. It's a gorgeous day here. And if you are watching me live, please leave a comment, say hello. If you watch the replay later, I'd love to hear what you thought of this fun fold. I'm just checking my Facebook page just to make sure that I am live and ready to go. Fold. Here we go. I'm just checking my Facebook page. All right. So I am using the Terrific Toadstools stamp set today. And I am still using up the paper that we got as a celebration item in January. It's this beautiful toadstool. I'll show you when I turn the camera down. But I'm sure if you look in your stash, you'll find some other papers that you can use for this fun fold. And of course, you can use any elements. Once you learn the basics of what this pop-up card is all about, you'll be able to make any number of cards. I'm already thinking of the Kintsugi Inspiration stamp set where it has the beautiful vases. So you could do a pop-up card for the vases as well. So anything that's like an independent element. It could be animals. I mean, it could be anything. You'll see when I get started, okay? All right, so let me turn the camera down because this is where all the action is happening down here, not up here. So I'm going to turn on some lights and I'm going to pull my camera, desktop camera, forward. Here we go. I'm going to pull my camera down a little bit closer. Okay, I think we're ready to get going. Let me just turn this a little bit. There we go. You think you've got it all straight when you start, and then you have to make some adjustments. All right. Okay, so again, this is the Terrific Toadstools. This is still available online. So it's a really sweet little set, and it comes with a coordinating punch. Now, just to be aware that it punches out the large toadstool and the smaller toadstool. These two toadstools get cut out from the punch. This one does not, so you'll have to fussy cut this. And there are some other elements that you have to fussy cut as well. And then this stem is a fussy cut stem, whereas it will punch out a very skinny stem. I don't know if you can see. Oh, I'll turn it over this way. So this is your large toadstool, your smaller one, and the even smaller one, you don't have that. But you've got this tiny little stem that you can punch out as well. I mean, it's just as easy. If you only want to get the stamp set and not get the punch, it's not a big deal because they're easy to fussy cut. Okay, so, and I've already done the fussy cutting, as you can see in the top corner here. You see that in the top corner. I've already done a lot of the pre-work because it's a lot of work using the toadstools. And I do have a bit more fussy cutting to do while I'm on camera, but we'll get going. Christine, good morning. How are you today? All right, so let's set aside that stuff. And let's get going. Now, I've got some measurements if you want to take them down, but I will put them in the description after the live ends. We've got quite a few pieces here. So you're going to start with a card base that is a typical A2 size card base, but it is a half sheet of 8.5 by 11 cut at 4 1/4 inches. So it's what I call a tent fold card. So a tent fold card can either go like this or it can go like this. Depends on what you want. No, actually, tent fold is up like this. And then this just becomes a landscape card. Okay. So 4 1/4 by 11, and you're scoring it at 5 1/2 to get your center fold. Okay. And then for the front of the card, you have, for the front of the card, you're going to have a 3 3/4 by 5 piece of basic white. Okay. And then on top of that, you're going to put a piece of designer series paper that measures 2 1/2 by 4 3/4. So that's going to go on there like that. And then we're going to add some toadstools on top. So that's for the base of the card. Okay. Now to do the inside of the card, the pop-up mechanism, you're going to start with a 3 3/4 by 10 1/2 piece of basic white. These are my little fussy cut pieces I still have to do. And we're going to do some scoring on here. So I'm going to pull out my trimmer. Okay, so this is 3 3/4 by 10 1/2. And we are going to score Let me just pull out my little measurements here. You're going to score at 4 1/4 to start. So 4 1/4. Then you're going to do 5 1/4. And then you're going to do 6 1/4. Now I have to pull out my arm because 6 1/4 is right over here. Now I like to just double measure. It's 1 inch really. So I want to do, let's see, I'm just going to put a tick mark to make sure, because it's really hard to see that 6 1/4. So 1 inch here to here. Okay, so we're putting that in the track there. So 6 1/4 should be right. Yeah, right there. So 6 1/4 is right on where see where the arm folds? You see where the arm folds right there? That's your 6 1/4 mark right there. I always like to just double check that. Okay, so you're scoring at 4 1/4, 5 1/4, and 6 1/4. Okay, you can put the trimmer away. And you're now going to create a pop-up. So you've got 3 score lines here. So the middle one, we're going to score up. Let me get my bone folder out so I can burnish. Okay, and then the other 2 score lines are going to fold back. And back. Okay, so what you end up with is this pop-up in the middle here. Okay, so that's your pop-up. So we're going to be adhering this into the inside of the card. Okay, so let's work on the pop-up first. Okay, so you've got some more measurements here. I've got a piece of the same green as I put on the front of the card. This is this beautiful foliage image. And this measures 3 1/2 by 4. And that's going to be glued. Let me move these extra pieces of paper. This is going to be glued into the top of this pop-up here. So 3 1/2 by 4. And then I have 2 strips here that are, and I'm going to orient my paper here. These are 3/4 of an inch by 3 1/2, and they're going to sit on this pop-up right here. So what's going to happen is when you open your card, this is going to come up and you've got a little shelf here, and then you've got the bottom of the shelf here. Can you see that? There's a shelf here and a shelf here. Actually creates a shelf. So this is where these pieces are going to be glued on these 2 strips right here. Okay, so let's start doing some gluing here and get these in. So if you're using a directional paper, just make sure that you both cut it and glue it. And I'm going to use my Tombow because I've got wiggle room here to make sure that it's lined up. Okay, so there's one piece. And then I've got another piece here. So we'll glue this in here. Okay, and then we're going to glue this piece. Look how pretty this side is. Could have almost done that as well. It's like a field. Gee, I wonder if I should change my mind. It looks like a field of Yeah, I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to switch it around. Because I'm putting toadstool. The toadstools become the pop-up element. And why not have them pop up in a field of toadstools? That makes good sense to me. So I really should have turned these other papers around too to match, but that's okay. All right, so that's going to go in there like that. Okay. Now, when you put your toadstools together, oh, you know what? I'm going to move to the front of the card. Now let's get everything ready and then we'll work on the toadstools. Okay, so this piece is going to be put on the front. Now you could decide to maybe emboss some of these pieces, but I'm just going to do this straight on. And this leaves a nice border for a change rather than a 4 by 5 1/4. This is 3 3/4 by 5. So we're putting that on. And then this piece is going on like this. We could do this side too, but I think I'm going to do the green this time. So you could almost make 2 identical cards and just switch up your designer series paper. Okay, and I'm going to stick this on here like this. Okay, so we've got the front of the card done and we've got the inside of the card done. Now we can do the little elements. Okay, so what I want to point out, if you don't have this set and have not used this set, I want to point out the fact that the punch is kind of neat because what it does is it doesn't leave a border at all on the toadstool. So they're kind of got a clear, clean edge, I would call it. Now, when you use a punch like this, where there's 2 pieces here, I cut my cardstock into a strip so I can easily fit it in here. Because if you do a full piece, I'll just show you, for example, if you do like a full piece of cardstock and you've stamped your images on here and you're trying to punch out either one of these, you're going to waste cardstock because it's going to punch out the second toadstool. Now you can make a template if you want to do 2 at the same time. I've shown how to do that in the past. You make a template, you put both stamps on and you ink them up and then you can punch both out at the same time. But typically I'm looking for one of the tops. And so I'll just cut a little strip, say about 1.5 inches wide. And then you can slide the strip in where the toadstool is. Okay. So that's just how I work my punches. All right, so I punched these 2 out, and then I punched the smaller ones out. So this is Melon Mambo, and this is Fresh Freesia. And then I had to fussy cut these stems. So these are the stems for the large toadstools. Okay. And then these, I fussy cut these smaller toadstools out because the punch doesn't punch those. The punch, you can punch other stems if you want, but they are much smaller. And I think these are a better size for that size toadstool. Okay. And then this is like a little mound of grass or whatever, or dirt. So I've got dirt. Now punch doesn't punch this out. So you do have to fussy cut. So bear with me as I do that. What happened to my ink thingy or my glue holder? I'm now looking for my scissors. Okay. So this is fairly easy to fussy cut. So basically for this card, for this particular card, I'm doing the same design on the inside and the out. Now you could change it up. I thought about changing up the colors of the toadstools for the inside versus the outside. So you can do whatever you want. This is a card. Oh my gosh, you could just do any theme for this card. It's fun for kids. It's fun for masculine. I was working on the that tool set, Trusty Tools. So you could do this card for the Trusty Tools set as well and have these tools pop up in the middle of the card. You can do any number of things. Be fun for birthdays. You could put a birthday cake on the inside that pops up. If you have some of those old alphabet dies, the smaller size alphabet dies, you could even pop up somebody's name in the middle. You could put happy birthday on the outside, and as they open it up, it would say happy birthday on the outside, and the inside it would have their name popping out. I mean, there's just so many. My brain is just thinking of all kinds of different ideas. Little animals would be cute. We recently had that little dinosaur set. That would be cute. Okay, so we have all of our elements done. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to glue my toadstools together. So this stem should fit, like you're just going to glue it right on top there. So I'm just going to put a tiny bit of glue on the top of this stem. Hold it for a few seconds. And let's do the other one. Okay, so those are our large toadstools. And then let's glue together these little toadstools. So again, I'm just going to put a little bit of glue. Just a little dab will do ya. So I have an apology to make. Last night we went to the Sydney market, and that's why I didn't do my case of caddy. And as I'm walking around the market, I said, "Oh my gosh, I should have told people that I wasn't going to be live last night." So sorry about that, but it was a beautiful evening. It's a bit cool. And then we walked around there, and then we had dinner. Okay, so now I'm going to do exactly the same thing on both of these mounds. I'm going to put a small and a large toadstool behind the mound. Okay, so I'm just going to position my toadstools so I want them to kind of overlap a little bit. I think that's kind of cute. Okay, and then I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the bottom of each toadstool, like that. And then I'm going to put my mound on. Now, it's easier to completely do the pop-up mechanism, and then when it's all decorated and stamped or whatever, then you're going to put it inside the card, okay? It's easier to do it that way than put it in the card and then do all the rest of the stuff that you want to do. Okay, and let's just change the orientation a bit. Let's do them. Let's see. Let's do one like that. Aren't they cute? I love them. Okay, so there are our toadstools. Got that glued to, there we go. Okay, now one set is going on the inside of the card, and it's actually going right on this grassy bit here. And you could make it go right down to the bottom if you want it. It doesn't have to go right down to the bottom. I think I'm going to glue it right about there. Okay, there's our little pop-up on the inside of the card. See that? Isn't that cute? And I like the background. I should turn it. See the background? I like that a lot. Okay, so that's done. Now let's do the front. So the front is basically just going in here somewhere. Now I'm just wondering if I should put another piece of DSP along the bottom. And I need a greeting. Now the inside of the greeting, I'm using Poppin' Up to say hi. That's why it's a great pop-up card. So this would be a great stamp set to hang on to if you're going to do a pop-up card, because look at this greeting, Poppin' Up to say hi. I love that. Okay, so I'm going to stamp that inside the card, and maybe I will just use the gray granite. The colors I've used on my toadstools, I used Fresh Freesia and Cajun Craze. No, sorry. Fresh Freesia and Crumb Cake. That's this toadstool. And this toadstool is Melon Mambo and Gray Granite. Okay. So I don't know if Gray Granite's going to be dark enough. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the inside of my card and do my stamping. Now, here's a thought. You know how you can make mistakes stamping? So here's just a tip for you. After you finish scoring your pop-up, you might want to stamp your greeting here before you do all this work. Because if you really muck up, you know, you're kind of screwed. So wish me luck. I'm not going to muck up. Popping up to say hi. There we go. Okay, that worked. All right. So for the outside, you know, it's kind of looking plain to me. Do I need a greeting on the outside? Just a little thank you, popping up to say hi. I'd like something to say hello. Let me just quickly see if I've got a hello. Hello, popping up to say hi. Yes. So my go-to greeting stamp set, since it came out, I think it came out in the spring catalog, is this Simply Said. I mean, it's great go-to when I'm thinking of a greeting, because you've got let's celebrate, thinking of you, happy birthday, yay, thank you, miss you, and then you've got mixed fonts here. So look at this great little hello here. Yeah, I love this stamp set. So this is still in the online store. And I need a block, so I'm just going to take this little stem off here and do my hello. And let's get a piece of scrap paper. So I keep all my scraps, you know, when I trim my paper down, I keep them because they come in handy. And maybe we'll do this gray granite again. Oh, that scrap's not, I don't think that's wide enough. Let's see. Yep, just fits. Wow. You know what? Let's do hello, hello, hello. Let's do something a bit different. Hope my head wasn't too much in the camera. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, and then I'm just going to do my little angled cut, which I love. Actually, maybe let's see. Where am I going to put this? I might do that. Let's just see what I'm doing here. I might line it up on the left-hand side. All right, now I'm going to use some dimensionals here. So let's bring out my mini dimensionals and let's bring out my take your pick tool. Okay, so I'm going to pop up the heads of my toadstools here. I think somebody else, Sharon, good morning. How are you today? Okay, we'll put some glue along the bottom. You know how I love to pop up the tops of things. Come on. Oh, for heaven's sakes. Hang on, ladies. I need to give it a good little shake. It's because I haven't been putting it back in my holder. Okay. There we go. You know, if you have the patience to continually shake, you can get a lot of glue out of these bottles. It's pretty amazing how much glue you can get. Okay, so I'm going to put this right here. And stick down those glue dots. And then my hello, hello, hello. I'm going to overlap my mound of dirt. And I might just do that, but I'm going to put that also on dimensionals. Okay, I think it's glued to my, there we go. So let's just put this right to the edge of the green. No, let's see, let's go to the edge of the white. Okay. So that's done. All right, now we're going to insert our card. So the way you do this is you completely fold it. Okay. And then I'm going to I just want to test how this works. Okay, so that's too high. So if I put it here, I'm just testing it out to see where I'm going to glue it. I'm just doing what's called a dry run or a rehearsal. How about rehearsal? Okay, so if I do it like that and then I lift up the card, yes, that will work. Okay, so you're going to leave a typical border at the bottom. Okay, now I'm going to use glue. It's just easier because, again, I can move it around. See, I shook it and there's tons of glue coming out now. So I'm going to position this at the bottom. something's happening here. I think I'm not going to fold the whole thing down. I'm just going to worry about the bottom. Oh my gosh, I've got so much glue on my fingers now. Okay, let's just do this. Just leave about a quarter of an inch at the bottom. Okay. Now I'm going to fold it and I'm going to put glue on the top. Woo! Glue on the top. And then we're going to fold the top of the card down on top. Sorry, I got to rub this glue off my fingers. Okay, and I'm just going to fold that down right on top. Like that. Okay? Wish me luck. Let's hope this works. Yes, are you asking yourself, did she make one ahead of time so she knew what she was doing? No, I didn't. I mean, I've done this card years ago, of course, but you kind of get out of practice so you forget all the little steps. Okay, we're going to have a check and see. All right, so there's I've got glue on my paper here. That's the front of our card. Let's open it up. Oh my gosh, look at that. I'm going to show this to you better. Can you see that? Here, I'll hold it like that. There you go. There it is. Where's my camera? There we go. Isn't that cute? And I love the field of toadstools in the background. I think that turned out great. Isn't that fun? I love that. Now I want to make a whole bunch more. Just when you open it, it's just like a surprise. Okay, ladies, that's your card for today. All right. Now, as you may or may not be aware, Facebook, for people who are doing lives on Facebook or putting videos up on Facebook, Facebook is actually deleting them. I think they delete them every 3 months or so. So if you go through my if you go through my feed is the word I'm looking for. Go through the feed and you go way down, like past 3 months or 4 months, you're not going to see a video there. Okay. But all my videos are, I make sure I stream both to Facebook and StreamYard, and years gone by, I actually just uploaded them to YouTube. So they're all on YouTube. Did I say StreamYard? I think I said StreamYard. They're all on YouTube. So you can go to my YouTube channel. It's the same name, From Me to You Paper Crafts, and there will be. All right. So let's just bring my face forward so I can say goodbye. I hope you enjoyed that card. I really enjoyed making that. I can't wait to make more. And I'd love to see if you decide to make one. I'd love to see what you do. So you can pop a picture in my comments and let's have a look, see what you do. Yeah, Christine, I think it's every 30 days. Although I went back quite a few and I still saw some there. So I don't know. Maybe they're not getting to everybody's Facebook page to do. I don't know. But yeah, so they don't last for very long. And that's why I put them up on YouTube, because they'll stay, I think, forever. All right. Have a wonderful weekend. Thanks again for popping by. And I will be back on now. I will not be here Monday. I'm away at a little craft retreat, so I won't be here on Monday. But I will be back on Thursday night. Next Thursday night, I will be back. So enjoy the weekend and have a great weekend. Bye for now. Okay, I'm still live. I can't find my mouse now. Oh my gosh. Oh, there we go. Okay. Now I can end stream. Bye, ladies.